Okay, so we started broadcasting now. Ramo, you would like to start?
Sure. أهلا وسهلا فيكم جميعا بأول حلقة من سلسلة
Rama, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? أنت سمعتيني رما؟
Can you hear us?
أيوة سمعتكم.
Yeah, she can hear me, but we can see.
Taha?
Yeah?
Can you hear me?
So they can hear us, so we cannot hear you.
Okay.
معقولة إني بلشت broadcasting?
No, we're not muted. You guys are muted.
دكتور طه أنت سامعني أنا كمان؟
ايه سامعك سمعتيني؟
ممتاز. واللي معنا اللي قادر تسمعنا كمان؟
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, perfect.
عظيم.
طيب لحظات بس ليضبطوا الوضع بفلسطين بعدين نرجع.
So is it because of the broadcasting? We can stop it. It's possible. No, don't close this session. Just this broadcasting.
I wonder if they mute us by accident.
So if we stop the broadcasting, maybe we'll go. How many tests we do, we'll always have some. Okay. So إذا شلنا السماعات الصوت اللي بتبقى حالها هيكون طالع. Rama, can you please speak? Okay. بس أنت سامع صوت اللي بتبقى مش سامع حاجة.
بس هي الصفحة.
Okay.
سمعانينا هلا؟ Can you hear us? سمعانينا؟
لسه دكتور هن عندهم في مشكلة يمكن بس هلا عم بجربوا كمان مرة يحلوها. كانت عم تشتغل هلا بس لا هلا لحظة شوي.
Yes. عمر إذا بدك خلص خلينا في السيشن نرجع على نفس اللينك. مهم.
اوكي لحظات يمكنوا بيرجعوا لنا دكتور طه. اسفين على التأخير.
لا مو مشكلة.
سو دكتور طه معنا إلي من أنت وركس بلبنان وهلا بفتكر أول مرة بيجتمعوا معنا وإن شاء الله بيكون لهم دور فعال بالأسئلة والأجوبة مع المجموعة. لما والمجموعة الثانية كانوا معنا من فلسطين من جامعة بير زيت. وبعدين عنا اللايف برودكاست على يوتيوب واكيد في معنا جماعه ثانيه بس لسه هلا مش شايفينها.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
احنا سامعينكم.
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. بدي أقدم الناس اللي عندنا هون. عندنا مجموعة دكاترة وطلاب من جامعة بير زيت. We're doing the webinar, the VoxVisio webinar series بالشراكة مع بير حكاية وأفكار بلس بسوريا، وحيكون في عندنا viewing partners في المستقبل برضه. اليوم we're hosting دكتور طه قسفوت، وهو دكتور والمؤسس لمؤسسة Humanitarian Tracker اللي عم بيستخدموا الكراود سورسينج والداتا ساينس في بعض الأمور في سوريا، واليوم حيستعرض معنا نشاطاتهم من 2011 لليوم. طبعا بتقدروا للي عم بيشوفونا لايف هلا بتقدروا تشاركونا أسئلة على تويتر وعلى لايف برودكاستنج على اليوتيوب. احنا حاطين الهاشتاجز بالديسكربشن على اليوتيوب، تقدروا تشوفوهم برضه بوستاتنا على السوشيال ميديا. بليز شاركونا أي أسئلة أو أي أشياء تستفيدوا منها اليوم من خلال السيشن، شاركونا إياها على مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي. وناو راح أخلي الساحة إلك دكتور.
شكرا كثير لكم.
But please share your screen with us again.
هلا عملت شير سكرين. شكرا كثير لكم. اليوم حابين بس إنه نشارك معكم العمل اللي كنا عم نشتغل فيه نحن، اسمه Anton Tracker، وكيف بنجمع المعلومات حوالي كثير قضايا، ونشتغل يعني بتحليل المعلومات، وانه نحسن نحضرها بشكل انه يعني انه فعال يعملنا اضواء على المشاكل اللي صار على الارض بسوريا وخارج سوريا. فاليوم حاحكي شوي على سوريا اللي هو الموضوع الاهم، وشو عم نعمل من 2011. بس هي نفس الطريقه اللي نحن بنشتغل فيها. بنحلل كمان شغلات اخرى مثل امراض تنتشر مثل الزيكا فيروس، الايبولا، الانفلونزا، واشياء اخرى كمان بالريليف اند ديفلوبمنت وشغلات ثانيه. ححاول احكي بالعربي قد ما بحسن، بس خليني بس بلش وبعدين بنشوف شلون بصير. Crowdsourcing, I mean, I just want to start with that. I mean, this is our mission, Humanitarian Tracker. Humanitarian Tracker is a nonprofit organization, primarily volunteers from around the world. We've been established this about 6.5 years ago, with the mission really just to do for social good. So this is just the team, the main team that helped me co-found the Humanitarian Tracker 6 years ago and continue to work with us. The construct of the team were primarily social entrepreneurs, social data scientists, as well as software developers and data scientists who have a lot of understand a lot of value of the data, but then how can we present the data back to those who might want to use it? Most of us here really have other jobs. We're physicians, we're epidemiologists, statisticians, very well accomplished in our lives in the domains that we work in. But the only thing that we all have in common here is a humanitarian mission. How can we use data and techniques to get this data in ways that can be validated and verified to address a specific topic? So,
if I can stop you here, can you please stop sharing your screen and share it again? Because we see a black. Okay, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. إذا عملتها presentation mode هلا بس قولي لي لساتكم عم تشوفوها؟
Yes, we can see your presentation. Yeah.
Okay. بس بدي أعطي a little bit background على crowdsourcing. What we mean by crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is not a new concept. إذا شفتوا الأكسفورد dictionary, Oxford Dictionary started with a way how many people worked on codifying the dictionary basically. So but this concept go as far back as the human being. I mean, we all collect information, try to verify it together, try to work together on presenting this information for social good. And that's really the technique that we use primarily to help us corroborate evidence, as well as try to understand whether a story is fake story, whether a story is correct story, and try to build evidence over time. Here's one recent example that that I captured from last week. I mean, this is where the government is asking the people, can you help us find things in the solar system, the 9th planet? And the only thing they're asking is like, just pick any dot on the screen, and that's different from the rest, as long as it's not a white dot on a black background, and tell us if you find something like this. There are millions of these on the screen, so they put the challenge out to everybody in the community, in public, to volunteer to find that. So this is one form of crowdsourcing, basically asking citizens to do this. Yes?
Sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Taha. I think we're stuck on the crowdsourcing for social good screen. Perhaps if you're not in presentation mode. Yeah, now we see the next one.
Okay, I think that's what the problem. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, which means I don't know if you guys were able to see also the team and all that stuff.
We weren't, but we can move ahead.
Yeah,
it's okay.
We can continue.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me bring you now. Can you see this event curve that I'm showing right now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So let me bring you this context now, from a context that we all our team at Humanitarian came from. We all came from a disease and health background, where we apply the same techniques, crowdsourcing and collecting information, regardless how accurate or regardless how verified it is, to really form a conclusion. Typically, the way, if you want to look at how governments work or official bodies work, they wait for all the information to come in, verify that information before they can act on it. Of course, that's one way how you can do it. However, you're buying a lot of time to do this, especially if let's say you're talking about some kind of outbreak, disease outbreak might be happening in the community. Over the last decade and a half, there's been some different ways about how can we go earlier about finding information. So maybe we can go and ask the doctors and look at records the doctors are doing. When they're seeing patients, maybe that's a little bit earlier than waiting for, let's say, a local health department before they get this information. Or how about, even go further, how about if we ask the patients themselves about, symptoms they might be presenting, even though we might not know the final diagnosis, maybe that'll help us. And as you can see, the more information and the further back we go, even though there's a lot of noise, but you're reducing the burden on the community of a disease, because if you identify a disease early on, you might be able to stop it early on. And that really created something called digital disease detection that a few of us on the team has created. We even published on it about back in 2009 as a new discipline, but how we can look at digital means about detecting diseases early, such as pandemic influenza or cholera or other things around the globe. Just give you one slight example. I mean, a country like Madagascar, very, very small in size. One disease outbreak happened literally about 2 years ago, was a foodborne outbreak, literally just collapsed the country economy. We're talking about a foodborne outbreak that probably, if you're in a major city in the US, probably won't even notice it. But that has resulted in 75% where their economy was just collapsed over the summer because they depend on it. Over 20 million euros in public aid just disappeared because there's no public tourism. So we're talking about something that, a small outbreak, you might think that this field is still nascent, still new, but this approach by getting at identifying something early can actually save lives, can actually save economies, can actually help, further diminish the burden of any condition. And that's really the approach that we're taking in Humanitarian Tracker. I mean, if I show you this one screen, most of you, doctors in the room might understand, I'm showing you a scan of the brain on the top left. This is a normal tissue. If I show you something on the right without really knowing much about, you just see some kind of white lesion over it, say, you know what, this is abnormal, because now you understand what the normal, you're looking at something else and say, well, I can understand there's some kind of contrast. The same thing with the EKG. If I show you a heart rhythm and tell you this is the right normal rhythm on the bottom left, how about if I present you about 7 or 8 different ways about how this is presented, and you can look and say, wait a minute, this differs from the one on the left. But in this case here, we knew what the norm is, we knew what the normal is, and now you're being able to have assert a diagnosis that I'm finding aberration from the norm. But reality is not that. Most of the time, you don't even understand what the normal is, and you're trying. All you have is multiple signals, and you're trying to try to stitch those together. As a matter of fact, I did write a book about this back in 2010 with some scholars around the world that really have quite a bit of interest in this, called biosurveillance, that really looks at these signals and how can we corroborate evidence early on and still be able to be accurate, even though in light of so many different noise signals. If I want to further simplify this, imagine that there's fire happening somewhere, nobody knows where it is, all you see is smoke. But you have different groups from different regions, from different geographic regions, are able to see the smokestack, and they're describing it to you. Well, if you depend on one story, that might be something that you can accept or refuse. But when you put all these stories together, you might be able to say, not only there's a smoke, but I might be able to actually hone down, it might be coming from this location, given the angles of all these reports that I'm getting. And that's sort of, I just want to gonna give you that sort of background. So let's see now how we're applying this to the to the context in Syria. So we started Syria Tracker, and this norm was 2011. Very few information coming out from inside Syria. News reporters weren't allowed to be in. You're hearing conflicting things on the news. A couple of news agencies, were able to get in, but it was really kind of disheartening not to be able to know what's going on the ground. So the few of us that got together, it's like, well, we've been using the same technique for over a decade. Could this apply to humanitarian crisis? Something was never done before. How can we apply data science? How can we apply crowdsourcing? نجمع هالمعلومات يعني من الأرض دغري من العالم يلي بسوريا، خليه يعني يعطيهم فرصة إنه يعطونا معلومات شو صاير عندهم. That was really the whole principle. And that was the premise of Syria Tracker. And if you ask any of us back then, 2011, we all honestly thought, just like any crowdsource effort, like any disease outbreak, يعني نحنا يعني كنا متعودين عليها. Oh, this will be 2-3 weeks and it'll be done. None of us really thought this would be 6.5 years later that we're still doing this kind of work. So give you a little bit about how the reaction has been over the last 5 years on the work that we've been doing. We've been called, like, this is big data, especially in an area right now where everybody's hearing fake news and big data, and government doing big data to do bad stuff. There was actually mention about 5 good things big data can be used for, and Humanitarian Tracker was highlighted in those. This guy here, Dan Tangalieri, he was the head of the government office, GSA, in the White House a couple of years ago, was highlighting how in the United States is civil movement and how efforts where the citizens are driving the civil action, and lo and behold, mentioning Humanitarian Tracker is one of the examples about sort of bringing this new way about how citizens have their voice heard, and actually there will be some actionable information. So let's talk about Syria Tracker and some of the highlights over there. So we've been crowdsourcing information in Syria and outside Syria around the Syrian refugees and whatnot since 2011. هدول 3 تقارير اجونا من الجراوند. اول واحد كان هون على البوليو. Polio, something was eradicated in Syria 14 years ago. And the first report, what we received, was really truly came with Syria Tracker, and this is really how we alerted the world about this. المخيمات اللي كان فيها الأمراض such as scabies, الجرب أو hepatitis A, التهاب الكبد، كمان هدول اجونا from the ground before you hear them in any official sources, and we were able to alert the world about these. لهلا نحن من وقت ما بلشنا 2011 we've been able to crowdsource حوالي 150,000 تقرير اجانا من السيتيزنز، من الاي ويتنس يعني on the ground. ودول بيجونا يا عن طريق الويب يعني Syria Tracker ويب سايت او ايميل او على تويتر من Syria Tracker. على اليمين هون اذا بتشوفوا هي الباي تشارت، حوالي 3/4 المعلومات about things that are really harsh, like such as killing or some atrocities happen or people being detained and missing. But over time, things start evolve as the conflict sort of became more and more complex. We started hearing about relief aids and chemical attacks and disease spread, rape of women, refugees, and more, you know, sort of disheartening stuff that were coming directly to us. But we don't only rely on eyewitness report. We also, as I mentioned earlier, this how we corroborate evidence. Is we also mine the news. So basically, any news article or a blog or journalists out there that have written about anything that was related to Syria in any topic, we'll be able to have a computer algorithm that goes and mine all this stuff, collect it, and be able to extract meaningful things from it. So to date, we've been able to mine 650,000 news articles and over 680 million, close to 1 billion social media posts, whether those are on Facebook, Twitter, or any social media forum. And as you can imagine, we have to sift not only through a lot of data, but we also have to sift through a lot of fake stuff, emotional stuff, to be able to distill the true signal from the noise. Putting it all together, so as I mentioned, the IFCC has quoted us to be one of the most accurate sources on information on Syria, the longest crowdsourced map effort to date. That Syria Tracker has been able to detect over 47 massacres, majazir, started with women and children in Syria, that no other source was able to report on it, was totally missed by the media. And as I mentioned earlier, even like diseases that been eradicated, like polio and pandemics like measles in South Syria, we've been able to detect that before anybody else. Now, using our methods have really caught the attention of a lot of standard bodies that, you know, for example, they do this for a living to track killings or track atrocities or track conflicts over time. So working with the Every Casualty, which is a consortium that Oxford University has put together to put standards for how you can document killings, for example, well, they have adopted our methodology on crowdsourcing and looking at unofficial records. And how that can become evidence for tracking in any bad doing or tracking conflicts on the ground. They even published a couple of years ago a report just on the effect of this conflict on Syria, where Syria Tracker was one of 5 sources that they based this effort on. This was presented in international courts, in United Nations and whatnot, and it's great to see how the voice of the citizen on the ground. هذا الزلمة المسكين على الأرض اللي يعني كل شيء عم يصير عنده إنه عم يعطينا معلومة. هالمعلومة it can be amplified in different bodies, in different forums, and becomes part of not just somebody is telling you what's going on the ground, but it becomes part of a larger story, and that's what we're really proud of that. بدي افرجيكم هاي الصورة بس إنه السيركلز اللي شايفين على اليمين واشتغلنا مع شركة اسمها Index on Censorship. That really the whole voice there was how can you empower journalists on the ground to tell their stories, and what you see over here is the red circles are the red circles are the media. So whatever the media has covered on Syria. As you can see, there's disproportionate. So even though they're pretty much in every region in Syria, Homs probably got the most attention from the media. But then also you can see how the trend line was going up and then went down, maybe a little bit up. But there's like a little bit more of where media fatigue is going on. The white is really where the Syria Tracker reports. These are the crowdsourced data that's coming from the citizens. And you can see not only that, you know, we have coverage all over Syria, but we cover areas that media doesn't even cover in Syria, which is really again the beauty about crowdsourcing, and how you can uncover hidden trends and hidden insights in any kind of situation. But it's not an either or, really. I mean, this is why from the beginning we said we want to look at the media, we want to look at social media, we want to look at citizen reports, put it all together in order for us to tell a good story. And if you roll the tape from March 2011 till now, you can understand, you know, what things transcribe over time. So let's talk about some of the insights that we have from this data, that we gleaned from this data. Wired magazine 2 years ago looked at this data, and we worked with them about highlighting civilian targeting. So the yellow is what everybody identified in the world as quote unquote collateral damage. You know, like for example, a bombshell, air bombardment, bombing and shelling. All those things are, you know, you're not targeting any specific citizen. You're targeting maybe an area or a region, and anybody can be affected by this. Whereas the red area is more of the red things is more of the targeted killing, like a sniper attack or a knife sort of injury or killing and that sort of thing. And without going too much detail, I mean, the sad reality was targeted methods, such as sniping, for example, have been used in Syria indiscriminately. Whether you're a man or a woman, a child, an adult, or an elderly, these methods were used, across the board, regardless of that, which is the first time that anybody has seen something like this to happen. But again, it's really great to see how data is supporting a story that's now being amplified on a platform such as Wired. Here's another example about where Mashable was able to cover that, you know, how data scientists are uncovering war crimes in Syria, providing the evidence. But also this particular journalist who's really been advocate for women's rights around the world for the last 1.5 decades have picked up on one of the insights we found in the data about the rising proportion of female killing in Syria. So if you're a female in Syria, you know, at the beginning of the conflict, it was less than 1% women were targeted. Right now, it's about 18-20%. But you can see that upward trend from over the last 6.5 years. So for some reason, women have been targeted. And then we looked at this evidence cross regions. We looked at it across different sectors, whether you're in this area or that area, and we found that to hold strong in all these scenarios. You can look at it across any killing method, but particularly the more of a close contact, like gunshots, knives and other things. We were able to also see that trend to uphold. The story was also picked up by Global Citizen and Chime for Change. That's has a really wider reach. Almost 2.5 billion people were reached through the story when it was told by Marianne Pearl. So it's really great to, again, find another platform to amplify women's rights and how we were able to back that with the information. Small Arms Surveys, which is a spin-off from United Nations, was also able to look at the cost of a bullet in Lebanon. يعني قديش الطلقة حقها بالبلاك ماركت بالسوق الأسود بلبنان, and try to track the cost with the killing. So the more the cost went up, the killing went up, and was almost like really going hand in hand, which is another example about this cost of fatalities in Syria. Earlier today, I mentioned how crowdsourced are in areas that news media hasn't even covered. These are the 47 massacres that we identified in Syria, where targeted women and children that no one else has covered. And I mean, you don't see that information in any media outlet. So we provided, again, another source to expose it. And what you see, the different colors really are the different regions. And on the bottom there, you see that since the beginning, from 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, and onward. So هدول المجازر 47 مجزرة صاروا بسوريا, ولا نيوز ايجنسي يعني عملوا لها cover للقصص, بس نحن we were able to do that, again, from the crowdsourced data. The Hala Gorani have done many clips about what's going on in Syria, particularly around what's happening to women and children. Use our data to highlight things like اغتصاب الطفلات والنساء, قتل الأطفال والنساء بسوريا, and show you that. I mean, مثل ما شايف هنا بكل مناطق سوريا highlighted حتى في 2013 المرأة بحمص, the chance of المرأة بحمص إن تنقتل كان 10 أضعاف أي ابنة تاني بسوريا. So you can see the targeting of this sort of fabric of society. Again, this is more and more reports that come up about highlighting, you know, like any type of hardship or deprivation, women are always the first target. النساء دوما عم يكونوا أول هدف بأي, and historically يعني أي conflict has happened before, دوما الماشينري تبع الconflict or the war always targeting women. This is nothing new, but unfortunately, you know, the evidence doesn't get built up till many decades later. And here in Syria, what we're doing, we're building this evidence as we go, day by day, as these citizens tell us these stories. There was even a movie was done about the context about sexualized violence in Syria, and how the movie directors and were able to also use data from Syria to back these stories. Now, beyond Syria, like as I mentioned, you know, we've been using the same methods, not just in Syria, but across the board. The same thing about sexual violence. We were able to highlight in Ebola in East Africa, in Liberia, and also show how women are being targeted in addition to dying from Ebola for other reasons. And whatnot. So now let's highlight, you know, so we're doing a lot of insights. We've collected information, corroborating this evidence, building the evidence. Let's also see how some of this data have been used for advocacy reasons. Washington Post many times have used our data to highlight refugee crisis, what's going on the ground. It's really this, the reason I'm showing this slide, really, I mean, it was really amazing to see that, you know, official sources like UNHCR, UNRWA, HIU, OCHA, USAID, and Syria Tracker was part of an as a trusted source, where crowdsourced data for the first time, stitched with official sources to tell you something on platforms such as the Washington Post. USAID, a government agency, and Department of State بأمريكا, they have been using on a weekly basis when they publish their whether the humanitarian assistance in Syria or on the Syrian conflict. They tell you where all the information that they're getting, and by the way, Syria Tracker is also part of this. Again, so you see every other source is official, and then you see Syria Tracker as one that's a new type of source of information. Back to the polio story that I told you earlier. So not only were able to detect the first case, now WHO, يعني منظمة الصحة العالمية صارت polio is a very dangerous disease. بلشوا تلقيح بسوريا وعملوا كذا حملة تلقيح أشهر وكل مرة يروحوا مرة ومرتين وثلاثة حتى make sure إنه everybody is vaccinated, which is awesome. And then راحوا إنه قالوا إنه okay, every child in Syria have been vaccinated, polio is under control, and guess what? We've been working with the groups that actually been vaccinating. And they told us that there were 26,000 children were not vaccinated in areas under the regime, and that was really the forum. Now we went back. Al Jazeera, New York Times picked up that story, the data from Syria Tracker, and was able to go back and put it back on الصحة العالمية. اوكي انتم عم تقولوا لنا انه لقحتوا كل واحد بسوريا، لكن هدول 26,000 طفل بحوالي 5 أو 6 محافظات ما تلقحوا، and هي المعلومات من Syria Tracker, so they had to go back and do this. And so again, from advocacy and action, this is really amazing to see how crowdsourced data can help. The role of women, in the conflict is very important. Something we've been highlighting from the beginning, not only during the conflict, but also the rebuild, the future of Syria. So this is another thing when the Geneva sort of talks were going on around the rebuild of Syria. There have been multiple of these things where we highlighted a couple of things, like human rights is topic that no one is covering. Everybody's talking about terrorism and ISIS and starvation and refugees, who are all very important. But how about human rights? And then we show another dimension that even in the rebuild of Syria, there's been less than 15% of the talks that any woman role was for the future of Syria. And every one of you know that women's role in education, for example, is the most primary role in any society in the world, in any region, in any history, part of history, always be on the forefront. Yet nobody is putting the woman voice in the fold. But also I want to talk about, the view of the world of what's going on in Syria. So you would think right now, after 6.5 years, everybody knows what's going on in the conflict. Everybody knows, have seen something. Until we got this thing. There's this professor in Pennsylvania who teaches a mapping class to a graduate level students. These are master's and PhD students. And this is a quote really from one of the students that I did not know what's going on. This is from about 6 months ago. I did not know what's going on in Syria until I looked at the Syria Tracker data, and was just really revealing to see that, you know, we're looking at the news and we feel like there's nothing, but oh my God, like look what's going on the ground. And they start looking at this data and analyzing it, which is really amazing to also see. I wanted to talk a little bit now, less depressing sort of topic like on disease detection. And again, you know, this is a world we all came from, and we have been doing a lot of this work in that space before we apply it to humanitarian crises and whatnot. But honestly, you know, it's the same methods that we've been using for other things such as influenza, H1N1, and other things around the world. Just kind of give you an idea. Right now, we do monitor influenza. You know, if you look at any official body like WHO or Centers of Disease Control, you might not know during the flu season what happened on a weekly basis. Outside the flu, you know, flu season, which usually الربيع والخريف, ما حد يشوف أي معلومات. نحن every 20 minutes we mine social media about what people are saying on Twitter, on Facebook, whatnot. We'll be able to give just as accurate information. And I pulled this one from Gaza last night. I'm sorry, about an hour ago. But somebody saying like they had cold and whatnot. So you can see how we can create a global map just by looking at data already is publicly available. We've been using this for also national disasters. Back when Haiti earthquake happened, we provided a form to deliver aids to over 1 million people in the population, again, using crowdsourced information. So somebody tell us they're in distress, we connect them with a nearby source of water, safe zone, and etc. Relief and development is another area that we have been working on, apply our methods. This is just another way about how we've been working in the United Nations about using crowdsourced approach to map back to the 9 or so different indicators such as safety, education, food, wash, and whatnot, and also track various fundings going on the ground for each one of those areas to highlight areas that are really of critical need or areas that are missed, again, using crowdsourced approach. We've been tracking corruption. Here's one example about what we're tracking in one country in Latin America, and how you can see citizens are reporting on all different types of corruptions that's going on the ground, again, using the same technique of crowdsourcing. هلا اخر شيء بس بدي اقول لكم، يعني انا حاطط هون مثل انه لمحه عن المنظمات يلي عم تشتغل معنا صار لهم 6 سنين since we started Humanitarian Tracker, and how Humanitarian Tracker really have become a trusted source of information, but also the methods. يعني الطريقه كيف نحن بنجمع المعلومات، طريقه كيف نحن بنحط المعلومات مع بعض، طريقه كيف بنستخدم انه بنطلع من هالمعلومات شيء مفيد، انه نحسن ستوري مثل قصه يعني الانسايت اللي I shared with you earlier today, and all that, you know, whether to amplify it on large media outlets such as CNN, The Guardian, and whatnot, or BBC, or whether to work with United Nations and USAID and others to highlight areas of critical need and remaining, and be sort of embodied as a new source of information that they trust, rely on, using their official reports, using their decision making. So this has been really great, and would always love any new opportunities. يعني أي طريقة نحسن نساعد إنه نستخدم البلاتفورم تبعنا، أو نستخدم التيم تبعنا، أو إذا أنتم عندكم قدرات you know من data science or other things، نحسن إنه نشتغل معكم. نحن يعني would love، بنحب كثير إنه نسوي هيك شيء. That's it.
دكتور شكرا كثير لك، يعطيك العافية. سؤال بخصوص آخر نقطة ذكرتها، إنه مثلا نحن عندنا جامعة بيرزيت ودكاترة من الجامعة وطلاب من التكنولوجي، كيف إذا حبوا يتعاونوا معكم ممكن إنه يصير هذا التعاون؟ هل على أمور داخل فلسطين، ولا هل ممكن كمان يتعاونوا معكم المشاريع اللي عندكم خارج فلسطين؟
الاثنين والله، شكرا كثير لك رنا. الاثنين يعني اذا في عندكم مشروع انتم حابين تساووه ان بدكم ساعتنا، نحن دوما حابين نساوي هيك. نحن مثل ما قلت انا بالاول، نحن volunteer based organization. so اذا في حدا كمان عنده skill set like data science or medicine or health and wants to participate, we're also love and welcome that. هلا في مشروع نحن عملناه مع طلاب بقلب غزة من شي سنة about the checkpoints and how can crowdsource checkpoints, especially for women who are pregnant and trying to get to from point A to point B for treatment or whatnot. We're able to work together and saying, well, this is how we've done it safely and securely. We can work together on this. This is one example we've done in Gaza about a year ago. But it was really amazing to إنه حتى واحد يشوف إنه قديش في خبرات ومعلومات ويعني وعالم كثير أذكياء عم تحاول إنه يسوي شيء منيح. فنحن بنحب نشتغل معكم قد ما بنحسن.
وكيف دكتور مدى يعني إذا أنا حابين يدخلوا معك بهيك مشروع، هل مثلا بيشتغلوا معك أسبوع 6 أشهر؟ قد إيه بتاخذ مدة المشروع؟
أوكي كثير سؤال حلو. حسب قديش أنتم بتحسنوا تعطونا قدرات. فهلا صرنا 6 سنين عم نشتغل بسوريا. في عنا عالم اشتغلوا يوم، في عنا عالم صرنا عم نشتغل 6 سنين. that's the beauty about يعني crowdsource efforts، إنه إذا عندك حتى ساعة باليوم بدك تشتغل شغل منيح. and this is not just coming to us, just really helping you too. so إذا عندك فكرة على مشروع بدك تسويها كمان بنحب نشتغل هيك.
طب كمان سؤال دكتور، هلا حضرتك طبيب قلب كارديولوجيست، لما انتقلت بدأت تشتغل بالديتا ساينس، هل وقفت عملك كارديولوجيست ولا عم تشتغل على 2 مع بعض؟
لا، عم نشتغل على 2. يا في مجال للاثنين. وهي حلاوة الشغلة هون، انه يعني في we're driven by mission and you know it's just great to see how data really can help. هلا حتى بشغلي انا يعني اذا يعني حتى اعرف بدي اساوي هالعمليه بدي اساوي هالعمليه، بدي اعرف بدي اخذ يعني معلومات عن كل شيء حتى احسن اقول القرار الجيد، ما هيك؟ فنفس الطريقه نحن هون عم نستخدمها.
ايوه ممتاز. لما انتم عندكم اسئله كمان قلتي لي؟
يس. السؤال هو انه طلاب اليوم وبرضه الناس المهتمين في الكراود سورسينج والداتا ساينس، اذا بدهم يبلشوا يعرفوا اكثر عن هذا الموضوع، عن هاي التوبيك، ايش في ريفرنسز ممكن يرجعوا لها، او ايش ممكن اذا في شهادات للموضوع، كيف ممكن يعني يتعرفوا اكثر ويدخلوا على موضوع الكراود سورسينج عشان يصيروا يشتغلوا فيه؟
لا عظيم هالشيء. اول شيء اذا بتروحوا على موقعنا humanitariantracker.org في كتير معلومات هنيك عن شلون نحن مثلا الطرق اللي بنستخدمها و a lot of it is scientific methods and stuff like that, and also ways that there are, you know, how these methods don't work. ما هيك بس in general هلا العالم يشتغلوا معنا بشكل عام on the data science. You know, you don't get a degree in crowdsourcing, but you get a degree in data science. You get a degree in computer science and statistical analysis, whatnot. There, you know, this is what they call the STEM education: science, technology, engineering, and math. So there are more and more universities around the world right now offer this, and a new way for you to start learn how to deal with it, where you learn how to code in software. You know how to deal with data, regardless how good or bad that data is. You know how you can quote unquote harmonize this data, how you can stitch these things, how you can start finding signals and whatnot. And it's really up to you how you want to apply this. You can apply it in medicine, you can apply it in engineering, you can apply it in, like in our case, humanitarian and relief and development work. So however your passion is, you can get a degree, a master's, even PhD. There's a ton of online courses on data science, by the way, YouTube and edX and other these Udacity and all these open platforms. Even MIT has offered all their courses for free if you want to learn that on your own.
Yeah, and here I want to add, for me, I have a degree in business administration and marketing, and when I looked for data science, they use it also in marketing to target
for segmentation.
This is like a huge area.
Yeah, for segmentation.
Yeah. So تمام. So other questions? Okay. دكتور احنا بنشكرك اليوم. That was really interesting topic. وبالتوفيق كثير بعملكم. نتمنى يكون في اشتراك بيننا وبينكم في برنامج معين because students here are really يعني في عندنا مجموعة من طلاب بير حكاية ليتي أخذوا دورة كاملة في الداتا ساينس واشتغلوا مشروع في الموضوع so maybe رح يصير في collaboration between you.
إن شاء الله. لا بدنا هيك عالم دون يشتغلوا معنا.
قبل ما ننهي إلي من طرفك هل عندكم أسئلة أو أي استفسارات لدكتور طه؟
Hi, thank you very much Dr. Taha. Thank you very much everyone. أنا بعتقد غطيت شوي لما كان عندي كم سؤال بخصوص إنه الأشخاص اللي هن مهتمين اليوم يكونوا part من هذا الشيء for humanitarian tracker بالشغل اللي عم تعملوه هلا currently عفوا أو استعماله لطرق جديدة. بس بعتقد حضرتك جاوبت على لما كيف معقول نعمل هذا الشيء. ثانك يو كثير على كل الحالات على التوك فيري انترستينج. ثانك يو. انا حطيتها هالقد واضحه باطارها اكثر. العالم نحن بركي قراب من هذا الشيء وما بنعرف عنه هالقد كمان. سو بتشكرك.
شكرا. الله يخليك. شكرا كثير استاذ الي.
طيب فإذا هيك بننهي الويبينار. ونتشكرك كمان مرة دكتور طه انك كنت معنا وان شاء الله بتلاقي مجموعة من الشباب والحضور عم بتعاونوا معكم على مشاريع بفلسطين بلبنان وبأنحاء ثانية
ان شاء الله. شكرا كثير لك رما ولما والحضور really appreciate it. شكرا كثير لكم.
العفو. يلا خاطركم.
مع السلامة.